We're talking once again with Rabbi Leib Tropper, and the subject today is tefillah, the power of tefillah, the power of prayer. As someone once said, tell me pray for and I'll tell you who you are. So we're going to be talking to Rabbi Tropper about how tefillah, how prayer and davening defines who we are in its broadest sense, how that makes a difference in our lives, and can we really hope that our prayers are actually to be answered?
Well, now we're in the season of prayer, as we recognize with our davening, a lot of davening that goes on from now to Hoshana Rabbah, Sukkot and Kippur and Erev Yom Kippur and Slichas every day, and from for Rosh Hashanah, there's a lot of davening, and as you said it, the word is there is a lot of power to prayer. Who are the power brokers to God when it comes to advancing in life? Who are the power brokers to God in being one of these repentance or apologies being accepted by Hashem? It's tefillah, tshuva. But tefillah is a very potent power that we have access to. Baruch Hashem, we have access to that power. We can't imagine a world of forgiveness or a world of greatness without the power of prayer. The Chazon Ish defines prayer in one of his letters, his famous letter of Chazon Ish. He calls it a mateh oiz. He calls it a very strong rod. Biyad ha'odam, in the hands of a person, that we have to break down doors that were closed to us before, until the Rabbi Shalom sees it fit to shower us with blessing, and not only respond to our prayers, but perhaps even give us more than we asked for, or better than we asked for. Sometimes what we ask for is small-mindedness compared to what Hashem has in store for us.
So it would be helpful for us to know what it is that we're asking for, and to give good, considerable thought to what we're actually asking for.
Right, so that's why, Peretz, that's why what you daven for defines who you are. Because the ability for small-mindedness in tefillah is so profound. Human beings are impeccable. They're not impeccable. They're impeccable. We have faults, and we think of sometimes really toys compared to what Hashem wants to give us when we ask. Hashem tells us to open up your mouth and I'll just give it to you. There is a famous chazal. I don't use this word famous as if it's kind of just used a lot. It's a very meaningful chazal that the Balei Musar, the people of thought in Judaism, Balei Ashkafi, use this memra, this statement in the chazal over and over again. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'aveh letfilosan. One version is letfilosan shel Yisrael. God desires the tefillah of Yid. And one version is HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'aveh letfilosan shel tzadikim. That God waits for the prayers of righteous people. That Medrash is trying to respond. The Medrash that says tzadikim, not necessarily, is trying to respond to a question. Why were the imos, the matriarchs, why were they barren for so many years? He says, Medrash says simple, because God wants them to daven. Sometimes the answer is so close to home, and yet we try to find all of the complicated answers, because we live in a world that the small-mindedness of that world, and I'm not talking about anybody particular, allows us to think for religion from a secular perspective. Unfortunately, we're using secular concepts to try to invade the Shmei Shamayim, the heavens of heavens, to get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to drag that what we need from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, instead of using what is so simple and obvious as a Kayach HaTfilah, from a Leiv Nishbar V'Nitke Elikim Le'Sivzeh, with a real broken heart, humble heart, that comes to that those tefillahs that come to the Rabbi Shalom are never turned away. Now we could ask questions. What about the 6 million Jews, and what about this, and what about that? That's another question It's a valid question, but it's a different question. Doesn't change what the Chazal tell us about the koyach hatfilah. Doesn't change how many people were saved, were spared agony by tefillah. It doesn't change that. The fact is that Klal Yisrael was spared by tefillah. Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yitzaku. Matitzak elai. Why do you scream to me? Just go across the sea. And Chazal say it means just you didn't be mispalel and just move and don't ask questions. Just go. The Ramban in Parshas Bo, he talks about tefillah as the opportunity, the medium for us to express gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Whenever we say Baruch Atah Hashem Chanun Hamar B'Lasleich, we are thanking the Rabbi for the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chanun Hamar B'Lasleich, he puts us on this world for a mission. And we go and we sin more than once a day. And we ask Hashem forgiveness. I mean, if we do this to our parents will throw us out of the house if every day we'd come with a new claim. You forgive me what I did to you? I just talk bad about you, and then come back again, talk bad about you. And what would our Kadosh Baruch Hu was Chanun Harmar Bil. His endless ability to forgive us is in itself something that we should be sitting and pondering and thinking and wondering, like, how is it? Like, what a chesed, what a kindness of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And all the other brachas, Mavarech Hashanim, and all every single bracha is, Ramban says, the main point of tefillah, tachlis brias ha'adam, the whole purpose of man, is that a person should praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
One of the tefillahs in Shemona Esrei is Shema Kolenu, and that Hashem is a Shema Tefillah.
Correct.
So are we asking that Hashem, there has to be a special request that Hashem should answer our tefillahs?
That we're asking now. The Shema Kolenu, all the tefillahs we're asking today, Shema Kolenu, please accept our prayers. What we asked yesterday, if it wasn't answered yet, we ask again, because you are the Shemei Tefillah. You do listen to Tefillah.
Is there an Indian to repeat and request tefillahs that perhaps were not answered at some point?
We don't repeat the tefillahs. We just have in mind in our kavanah. We just have in mind the things that you need, and that's sufficient. In any event, the Mabit in the Perek Aleph of Beis Elikim, he writes that a person should not ask for things that are not necessary, not what he wants. I mean, childish for one to ask, I need a new house, I need Ferrari, I need to close his business deal to make $1 gazillion. I mean, that's foolish to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for things that are necessary for us. We need to become closer to Hashem. We need to become a greater hasag, a greater reach in our intellectual reach of what the Eibishter is for us, what a Kadosh Baruch Hu, what God is for us, how much He cares about us. We need a better reach to understand what Shabbos is. We do need parnasa. That is something that we need to ask Kadosh Baruch Hu. We need to show our dependency on God. We need parnasa. There is a story of the Rav of Migdal Emek. I don't remember if it was the one we know, but there was a Rav of Migdal Emek. I think I heard this from one of Rosh Yeshiva in the Mir. Said the story. Somebody come banging on his door late at night, close to midnight. And he was crying. He says, I have this problem. It's a terrible problem. I can't surmount this problem. I can't deal with this problem. And the Rav of Migdal Emek looked at him and thinking, like, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? He says, I have an idea. There's somebody that I know. This person was saying the problem was actually, I remember, it was he didn't find his zivug. He didn't find his zivug. So he said, I have an idea. I have a son, older son, that hasn't found his zivug. As he was saying, his tears were coming down his eyes, the Rav, he says to him, I'm taking you right now to his house. He takes this man's hand, he goes with him to the house. He says, I want you to sign an agreement that all the merit of your tefillahs will go to the other person, and the other person's merit will go to this person. All the merit of one will go to my son, and the merit of my son's tefillahs will go to you. In a year, they were both married.
Each one
The Gemara
davens
says,
to the other.
exactly, if you need, if one needs the same thing that the other one needs, that is one powerful koyach tefillah, the ability of tefillah, that you could daven for someone else, and that amplifies the strength of that tefillah, and we have both people being answered, people davening for each other.
It's not like some magical charm, like some type of device or mechanism. There must be something in the substance of what one is doing when davens for somebody else that creates that.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the DNA of tefillah is, if I could say, is that actually, I think the Chef Schmeitzer writes this, that and Arizal says that before you daven, before one davens, that you think of the mitzvah of a hafta l'reacha kamecha. So there's something about Ahavas Reim that intensifies Ahavas Hashem to us. And that having Hashem love us more than He does is already, we're halfway home, we're not, maybe 3/4 home. I mean, that's pretty much. So that's a particular fascinating story about the ability to use tefillah, the koyach tefillah, the strength of tefillah, to help other people. Not just when you daven for them, that the concept in your mind about thinking of your chaver, of your friend, man, woman, parent, student, whatever it may be, the other. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Rabbi and I think Rabbi Kotler Zatzal once said about, in a different venue, he said about people who go out to teach in places that are far out. So he said, people were reluctant to go from Lakewood in the early days to go. So Rabbi said, those who worry about the Eibishter's children, Hashem worries about their children. B'chai Gavna, in the venue of Tefillah, you worry about the Eibishter's child, and the Eibishter doesn't worry about your child. You need your son married, he needs his son married, you worry about him, he's worried about you, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make sure that everybody gets what they're supposed to get, and for a blessing. It is, as we come to this time of our year, which is particularly in for me, my experience, as I experience it, it's intense. It's a very intense time. I'm nervous. I feel kind of high-strung and high-tempered. I have a splenetic temper at that time. I just inside of me, not I don't burst out screaming and yelling, but I have a splenetic temper that's kind of boiling inside of me, and thinking about, like, how do I? This is a Yom Hadin. It's really, who knows what. I mean, whenever I think about it.
It is called Yom Haroyim.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. I feel that just calling that name Yom Haroyim in itself starts making me feel that nervousness and anxiety. But the real truth is, a person should go with this, like I said before, so happy with Simcha, and that's one of the ways the Gedolei HaChasidus talk about how you're supposed to go to the Yantif, to Yom Neroyim, with Simcha, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us, that kind of placidity one should have when he goes to Yom Kippur Davening, even though it is Yom Hadin. I think the Rishonim say, even Rabbi Yaina writes, that the reason why we eat Erev Yom HaKippurim, Suda, is because really we should eat on Yom Kippur, because it's a simcha that Baruch Hu forgives us of our sin. So on one hand, we're saying confession and all the things that we say, the vidi, which is probably the most important part of tefillah. On the other hand, we should have been eating on that day, but we can't eat it because Baruch Hu told us not to, so we eat before Yom Kippur, because to celebrate the fact that we have a Yom Kippur. The Gemara says, for some reason, I would say that I guess highlights, that makes it more salient to us, that tefillah is such an important part of our life. The Gemara says, "Krum zulois levnei adam." That's what's high and above, very high in the world to us. He says that's tefillah. That's way above, and people are mezalzel. People are kind of like play it as a game. They don't take it seriously. We daven. We look on the side. I mean, you know. I don't need to show you, Peretz, and make you laugh now on record here to laugh about when you think back and imagine what people look like sometimes when they daven. It's tragic, is that look here and look there, and then they look down there and look what's going on in the shul, and they even chuckle while they're looking around and thinking about a million other things, and probably some of them are thinking about the businesses or beeping and shutting their phone off in the middle or shutting the phone on and everything else that's going on. all the interruptions that are there are, and then the person thinks, who's calling me? Even like I'm embarrassed to take it out. Who's calling me? Who's not calling me? You're talking to Melech Malchi Amlochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this is what the Chazal say: Elu Dvarim she'aynim b'rum shel olam have ye'emes tefillah when the other mezalzelim, people are mezalzel in it, and that is unfortunately prayer, which is people just disregard it terribly.
Is that because they don't recognize the value of what it can accomplish, or they're not really in touch with what it's...
whatever it is, it's tragic. Whichever one it is, Peretz, it really is relevant. It's tragic, and that's one thing that all of us need to make ourselves aware of. Myself, of course, and we all need to make ourselves aware of that. Without finding and trying to analyze what is the reason, is just to be able to focus on that. One of the reasons I spoke to you last night about was that most people say, and Rashi says it in Yecheskel Lamed Gimel regarding tshuva, but I think it applies to davening no less. Rashi says that some people don't daven for tshuva, or don't even try to do tshuva because they think it won't be accepted to Kodesh Baruch Hu. They're so sunk, they're so drowning in sin that they can't get out. They feel like it's quicksand. They're just sunk skin. Similar with tefillah. Some people feel that because Baruch Hu hasn't answered my tefillahs till now. I mean, maybe we're asking for the wrong tefillahs. I mean, maybe we're asking for like bubblegum compared to what we should be asking for. I mean, the things that we're asking for. But so I give up. I give up on tefillah. You know, I'm living a hard life. I don't have parnassa, and I daven parnassa, and there's nothing happens. Nobody's home. As they feel like. That's what the Bali Musa talk about that, and it needs to be addressed. But it's not. That's not really what's happening. No tefillah goes away. There's no tefillah that moves away and goes rekam. It's put in a place. The night time, Kadosh Baruch Hu answers it with a special bracha. No tefillah goes unanswered, and it is something which is we need to ask ourselves. We need to ask ourselves one time, like, what am I davening for? What kind of tefillahs do I have? How does my davening look? Am I expressing the full strength of the limbic part of my mind, or just kind of all cerebral, and it's nothing but my true emotions that are there, and I really feel? Are you letting go of your mamash shivchi kamayim libeich? Let your heart pour out like water to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or it's just kind of like going through the exercise of moving my lips and saying words. A lot of times people think that, davening is not answered, and it's kind of a stale routine. I just shared with you that there was a writer, the Bali Musa said that. I saw this in the sefer from the Mashgiach of Petach Tikva in the yeshiva or Yisrael of Naiman, but articulated by Havdil Elfai Avdolos by Sam Keen in his book Inward Bound. He says captivity in a stale routine is still better than adventure in the forest. We don't know where we are in the forest. We need to find a way that we mechazik our tefillah, that we find interest in our tefillah. Shlomo, Shlomo once told me, he says, Label, he said, do you think that people don't go to shul, children don't go to shul because they don't want to daven? They don't go to shul because they want to daven, but they don't find it in the shul. If it's kind of routine and stale, and it has a lot of soaked with morbidity in it, and it's kind of like, daven, and instead of saying, I'm davening to the Eichler, it's a big schuf to daven, because I'm going to pull my heart out. There's something, this passion, there's it's adrenalized tefillah. It's not just something which is floating through a 15-minute period of day. That kind of tefillah is what we talk about. Kadosh Baruch Hu misave letfilashan shel Yisrael. God desires the tefillah of a yid. He's waiting for you, me, more importantly, all of Klal Yisrael. Thank you very much.
One quick question, Rav Leib, and maybe it's not a quick question, but I know we did want to address the idea of, is there anything to be learned from the hanhagas of the conduct of our Gedolei Torah, people like Reb Scheinberg Zatzal or Rabbi Yashav Zatzal? When they would daven, you would feel something special. Something we can learn in particular from any of those particular?
I always believe that those kinds of things in general, personal experiences, what you learn from someone, you feel something personal. Everybody gets their own kind of chizuk from it. I don't know if there's a particular defined thing that you could learn from them. I think everybody learns what they learn from it. I mean, We should learn from those things because they're doing it right, obviously. So, but to say what it is that we learn from them, I don't think that we can say that, Peretz.
Going into Yom Kippur, is there one word, one strong piece of advice in addition to everything else Rav Leib said that we should be able to take with us as a dynamic to be able to help us have that feeling, to help us have the proper thoughts, to help to daven for the right things on Yom Kippur?
There's only one tefillah that I could say that kind of has universal meaning, and that tefillah should lead out, to branch out to all the other personal tefillahs that you have. Is I want to be closer to Hashem. I need to be closer to Hashem. I must become closer to Hashem. And I need to just disappear from the face of all my averos. And not think about it in a way that's negative. What's gone is gone. It's history. You have to press the cancel button. It's all gone. There's nothing left. It's finished. And we confess to the Eibishter because we want us to be makir, the concept of to admit to what we have done wrong in a sense. And you don't admit to other people, only admit to the Bari Olam, not to anybody else. You don't talk about it. It's Ashnis Pesha Ksicha Toz Mefurish Mishnah in Yuma that we don't talk about to other people. Anyway, we should all have a Gemara Chasim Teva, and we should all learn this tefillah for the whole year. We should try to strengthen our tefillah the whole year, Peretz. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you.